From the campus of West Deptford High School in West Deptford, New Jersey, the GCEN presents high school football. Tonight, the West Deptford Eagles host the Willingboro Chimeras. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Fred Swartz. A beautiful evening here. Low 80s. Fantastic night for football. We've got a good one. It's a Group 2 showdown. Willingboro and West Deptford. I think Willingboro expected to see West Deptford last year. It didn't pan out as they lost a heartbreaker to Cedar Creek in the championships, but they have an outstanding team coming off a tough loss against Cinnaminson. They look to regroup today.
Yeah, tremendous athletes on the Willingboro team. You'll get to see speed, athleticism, everything that can give West Deptford fits tonight.
For Willingboro, just a bevy of playmakers, but they're led by a quarterback who, as head coach Steve Everett says, has seemingly telekinetic powers, knows exactly what the offensive coordinator is going to do. That's Trey Green.
Yes, it's always nice when you have your quarterback back from the year before. I like him because he's left-handed. He had a tremendous touch. He was 12 for 16 throwing last week against Cinnaminson. The only bad thing was he had a pick 6, but he can just do so many things, and he can create, and that's probably the biggest plus he's got going.
I've been doing high school football for over 20 years now, and I've watched Clyde Folsom and these West Deptford Eagles. They are the picture of consistency, seemingly always in the championship game, and once again, repeat champions.
Yeah, and I call them the gold standard of Group 2. Every team in South Jersey knows if they have to win Group 2, sometime or another, they're going to have to beat West Deptford. They're just so disciplined. Even though they lost 23 seniors from last year's team, they say hard work and dedication makes up for inexperience.
You mentioned last year this was an experienced team. They were led by Pete Oreo. He came over as a transfer student. He really led the way and had a huge game in the championship. They're going to look for him throughout the season to lead the way.
Yeah, he's an outstanding athlete. I got to coach his dad at Deptford years and years ago. He just does everything right. And Coach Folsom, when you get a quarterback, he can just do so many things with that offense. He's also a very, very good defensive athlete, probably going to go to college to play defense.
Clyde Folsom, a little bit tentative when I spoke to him in the pregame, really feared a lot of the playmakers of this Willingboro team. Conversely, Steve Everett knows that his team's going to have his hands full, as this is a West Deptford team that does not, as they say, lose players. They do not rebuild. They just continue to get better and better, and we'll see that for you, with you, right after this opening kickoff, just moments away. Welcome back to West Deptford High School, your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. Willingboro in the white tops, navy blue bottoms will be kicking off to West Deptford to start things here. And we are underway from West Deptford High School. Line drive kick back to the 15-yard line, right up the gut, and finally down at about the 46-yard line is Kenny Lim. We'll see a lot of Kenny Lim tonight.
And that's for sure. And sometimes in big games like this, special teams are a big indicator of whether you're ready to play football. I think West Deptford answered that on the kickoff return.
As we mentioned, West Deptford, the returning Group 2 champions. They defeated this Willingboro team last season 33-7. It's 80 degrees, partly cloudy here at West Deptford High School. A beautiful evening, as it tends to be here in mid-September. First down and 10 for the Eagles. Handoff into the secondary, and Lim, as we mentioned, slung down at the 40-yard line.
And a first down, and very typical of West Deptford with their wing-king offense. Coach Everett said it was driving them fits all week. They practiced without a ball just to make sure that they followed the right keys, and that was outstanding effort there by Kenny Lim.
West Deptford with a vaunted offense. It's going to be tough for Willingboro all night to stop them, but Coach Steve Everett knows what's in front of him. The handoff right up the gut, and not a whole lot there for West Deptford's number 7, TJ Hoyt.
And a great tackle there met by Albert Nah right there, stepping up with the linebacker. The key to Willingboro is to stay at home, do what you need to do, watch the guards, don't put your head in the backfield because then you'll be in trouble.
Second down and 9 for Clyde Folsom and the West Deptford Eagles.
Oreo, your quarterback in this wing T offense. And around inside goes Lim, and he'll fall forward for a nice pickup of about 7.
West Deptford showed a little bit of everything. That was their single back reverse coming back in, hoping to catch the linebackers going with the backs and going outside. And Willingboro stayed at home, but it's again what West Deptford wants, 3rd and short. And they're already down close to the red zone.
3rd down and 2.
3 plays and 3 runs. That's what you expect from this West Deptford offense. Inexperienced offensive line, but they're still going to run that football on the wing T. Oreo hands it off, and that will be more than enough for the first down. Hoyt picks up 4.
And then once again, we talked about it in the opening. West Deptford had to replace 23 seniors, and they were 23 good seniors. But they just seen Clyde Folsom as a guy who just coaches perfection, and he wants them to execute at the best of their ability.
First down and 10 at the 29-yard line for the Eagles. 4 consecutive runs, 2 first downs on this opening drive. 9:40 and counting remaining in this first quarter. Again, it's Lim. Lim is struck and stopped, but he continues to push forward, and he'll pick up a pair of yards.
And that was a great stay at home by the defensive end. West Deptford likes to try to attack the defensive ends. They try to send them in all different directions, all different motions, all different pulls, and a great job staying at home by the defensive end there for Willingboro. You can see it right here. Just an outstanding tackle there by Zane Hamilton. He's the top linebacker, according to the coaches from Willingboro.
Hamilton, a senior who will play on both sides of the football. Second down, and we'll call it 8. Again, Oreo will hand off, and again the deception into the secondary, and a fine pickup made.
And that's that single reverse coming back. That was Darren McEwen. He was one of the few starters that played last year. Watch it again. You'll see the inside. He follows his tight end. That's the big Jason Collier leading the way down the field, and first down for West Deptford. Collier has got offers to go, and he's only a junior. He's going to be a big-time player for West Deptford.
Gain of 14 yards. McEwen, 64 yards and a touchdown last week against Audubon. Again, the end around, a lot of space, and Lim inside the 5-yard line, very close to a first down. It looks like he'll have enough. May get a spot here.
And Rob, it's almost like how Clyde Folsom probably planned it up for his first drive. It's just execution, execution, execution.
7 running plays to start this football game, and Lim with 38 yards rushing on the drive. Approaching 8 minutes left in this first quarter. And the handoff inside, touchdown. Hoyt with the 2-yard touchdown run.
And just typical West Deptford football. Drive the football right into your face. Almost what we used to call smash mouth football. Dictate to Willingboro, here we are, look out, we're here to play.
So West Deptford will bring on their kicking team. Try to make this a 7-0 game. Kick is up, and the kick is good. West Deptford jumps out to a 7-0 lead with 7:56 remaining in this first quarter.
And here's the touchdown drive. Watch Hoyt coming right off tackle. That's just a belly play. He got stuck at the goal line, but he drove his head and shoulders in the ball across the goal line. 6 points for West Deptford. So if you're Clyde Folsom, it's exactly what you want to do. Get the ball first, go right down the field, score, make Willingboro outscore you. Now we can see up on the graphic last year, the last time we had West Deptford was defeating Cedar Creek in the NJSIA Group 2 South Sectional Championship 19-13. And they have not lost a game since 2015. They have probably the longest winning streak going on, or undefeated streak in South Jersey.
Well, that first quarter kind of exemplifies what West Deptford is all about, that opening drive. Again, taking the kickoff, excellent special teams play, and then just run it.
Matter of fact, Pete Oreo told me before the game that they had actually called 11 passes last week against Audubon. He said, you won't see this tonight, so I think they were right.
Well, we talk about excellent special teams. Willingboro known for their excellent special teams play. We'll see it on display here as West Deptford will be kicking it away for the first time tonight. And it's a line drive, and they'll simply fall on it at the 31. I think West Deptford will be pleased with that.
Oh, absolutely. Matter of fact, I was kidding Coach Folsom at the end. I said, don't kick the ball deep because a lot of bad things can happen. And I can remember the championship game last year. They kicked one deep to Bo Melton, and he took it all the way back for a touchdown. But luckily, it was called back for a penalty. But now we get to see speed and athleticism. Speed and athleticism.
Well, there you see number 2, Trey Green, last week, 11 for 15, 115 yards and an interception. I asked Coach Steve Everett, what does Green need to do to be successful today and come away with a win against this vaunted West Deptford defense? He said, complete every pass. I think he's set his sights high. Working out of the shotgun, first down, they'll hand off, and tackled in the backfield, loss of yards. And that looked to be number 36, Christian Cece.
Yep, and he's another one of their big name players, but as you can see, West Deptford, you knew Coach Folsom would have them definitely scouted and be ready to go for offense. Their job, contain the speed, no big plays.
Loss of 3 yards, second down and 13. 3 receivers set. Green, quick out pattern, has his man, he'll fall forward to the 40-yard line, and he picks up most of it back, and all of it and more, back 1 yard shy of the first down, 12-yard gain, third down.
And that's the player that Coach Everett was the highest on as far as the non-quarterbacks, and that's David Green. He's wearing number 81. His brother was an all-county linebacker last year. They really expect to lean on him big time.
Third down, we'll call it 1. Green hands off and tripped up.
And he's not going to make
down at the 40-yard line. He's going to be short of the first down.
And now very interesting situation, Rob, for Willingboro, because if they give the ball back to West Deptford, they may not get it again in the quarter and might find themselves down 14-0. I think they're going to go here.
And instead, it looks like they're going to bring them.
How about that? Well, patience is a virtue, and I'm sure that's what they're thinking here.
So 2 rushing plays results in a loss of 3 yards, and Willingboro forced to punt it away here early. High punt, bounces, and takes an Eagles bounce back to the 41-yard line. So first down and 10 for West Deptford with 5:50 remaining. There you take a look. 7-time South Jersey Group 2 champions. 2002, 3, and 4, 7, 11, 12, and of course in 2017 as well. They've made 13 sectional appearances. Just an impressive run. Little end around once again, and it's Lim.
And if our viewers watch, they actually put Kenny Lim out almost like a slot back, run the motion towards him, and then give him the ball.
Lim with 5 carries now for 46 yards. Second down. looks like about 3. You know, one of the things that Coach Steve Everett said is this wing T is so hard to defend because they are so disciplined is West Deptford. And again, another carry and another first down. That's Hoyt.
Quick little trap play right there to the fullback. Coach Folsom's throwing the arsenal right now at Willingboro, never showing them the same play 2 times in a row and making the linebackers and defensive ends think each way. It's just vintage West Deptford football.
You saw Hoyt's stats from last week. Hoyt already with a touchdown. First down and 10 at the 44-yard line. And off again, it's Lim. Lim will bully his way inside. We'll call it 3.
Now our old-time fans will notice that's the famous wing T sweep, where the back will take 3 steps across the line, make a cut off his outside foot, and break just outside the tackle, and Lim driving ahead.
Clyde Folsom, one of the most successful coaches in South Jersey history, 27 seasons with this West Deptford team, 252 wins against 71 losses. Just an impressive run. Most people, of course, don't remember when Clyde Folsom took over this program. This was not a very good football program, and he has changed the culture entirely. This is truly a football town now.
And that's really true. And he's just been an outstanding coach. I first met him when he was the coach at Bishop Eustace. He developed that program into a top ground. He then left, went down and helped Pete and Pat Lancetta down in Hamilton. West Deptford decided they needed a coach. Coach Folsom was the guy they needed. They gave him an offer he couldn't refuse, and he's been fabulous here. Just fabulous.
There you see the Willingboro sideline. Coach Steve Everett in the suit jacket. Coached previously at Clayton. Then he did the team at Princeton, the underweight team.
Yeah, the 150s.
The 150s.
Yeah.
See, he's 0-1, 11-20 with the Chimeras. And, you know, one of the things that I talked to Steve about is when you talk to a lot of the referees and the other coaches, they talk about just the amount of respect that they have for the manner in which he has coached his football team. And here we go, Lim into the secondary. Well on his way. Lim is in. Touchdown. 41-yard touchdown run for Kenny Lim.
And you talk being a dagger to the heart. That was the counter crisscross. They run a double reverse. They hand the ball off to the offside halfback. He hands the ball inside to the onside halfback. The tight end leads the way. And if you don't pay attention to your keys, they walk right into the end zone.
4:03 left in this first quarter. It's been all West Deptford. They have not thrown the football once, but they have moved the football consistently. On for the extra point. The kick is up, and the kick is good. 14-0 West Deptford. Kenny Lim, 99 yards rushing already for Kenny Lim, and the beat goes on here for the Eagles.
He was a 1,000-yard rusher last year in a backfield that featured some tremendous athletes, Anthony Sees, Mondays, and the whole 9 yards. So a lot was made for him this year, and boy, he's living up. And I'll tell you, you hate to say this early into the game, but I think Willingboro has to move the football.
Yeah.
So if they don't move the football and they hand it right back to West Deptford, the confidence level's got to be 25 feet high right now for the Eagles.
Well, again, here's the other issue, okay? West Deptford has run the football now 12 times, and they have done so for a grand total of 126 yards. Willingboro, 2 times, -3. Willingboro will not be successful if they cannot establish the run.
And I think the only way they're going to probably be able to establish the run right now is pass. Set up and loosen up West Deptford a little bit and then pick your mark. So we'll see if what Coach Everett does.
Again, a line drive angled towards the sideline, picked up on his knees, but they're going to allow the return to happen, taken at the 30-yard line. So he went down on his knees, but he didn't take possession until he was up on his feet, apparently.
Here you get to see the touchdown. Watch the handoff to 4, McEwen, back to Kenny Lim, and you can see the tight end leading through the way and puts Lim right into the secondary and into the end zone. Just a great execution play where the ball is handed off twice and produces a touchdown.
I'm not sure that Willingboro needs to score on this drive, Fred, but they need to move the football for at least get the sticks, I think, over midfield.
And I think also a little bit to keep your defense off the field.
4 receivers set for Trey Green and the Chimeras. Green fakes the handoff, and now will improvise. He throws it up out of bounds. That will fall incomplete.
Yeah, that was really interesting. There was a double receiver pattern where the outside receiver ran a stop and the inside receiver was going to run a deep out. Both were covered very well on West Deptford, so Green just tossed it away.
So you're probably wondering about their nickname, the Chimeras, Fred. So,
I'm glad you're here because I didn't know how to pronounce it, so we were in good shape.
In the spirit of full disclosure, this is my alma mater, Willingboro High School. So growing up in Willingboro, there used to be 2 high schools.
JFK, right?
JFK, John F. Kennedy High School has since closed. They were the Griffins, all right? And Willingboro was the Chimeras. We'll get to that in just a second.
How about that? That's interesting.
Hand off inside, and a pickup of about 4.
And that's the first productive running play. That was the big hope, and then that's Zaire Clement, who's a sophomore running back for Willingboro.
3rd down and 6. Again, Green throws out into the flat, has his man, but he's hit immediately. Ball's forward, and the ball is loose. The ball is loose. What is the rolling on the field? They're going to say that he is down.
Looks like they're going to call the runner down, and it's going to be enough for a first down. Watch it again, the quick outside. This is Chris Long. Excuse me, that's number 81, David Green. And that's pretty close, but that's a first down.
I tell you, that was a win-win because they picked up the first down. And if he was down, in fact, then that would not have been a first down. Green connects once again.
And that pass was completed at number 5 to Sear Murray. Coach Everett was really good on Murray. He said he's a game breaker. If he gains any open things, he can go the distance.
Fred, we've had the misfortune of being right in the middle of the drum section, so I'm sure whatever you said was very profound, but it's very tough to hear it. 2nd down and no gain.
And now puts Willingboro in a situation that they really don't like, which puts them into 3rd and long. And the last thing they want to do is give West Deptford back to the football and have them mark it down again. So this is a good test right here for West Deptford secondary.
Third down and 9. Green flushed out, will dump it off. Finds Kendrick. Kendrick bulls his way forward, and his helmet comes off.
And a really good disciplined play by Pete Oreo, who also plays outside linebacker. He stayed at home, stayed right there for that little outside swing pass. Here you get to see it. It's a real nice situation here. You'll see the swing pass, one-handed catch. Oreo stays at home, just delivers the shoulder. Talking to his dad, who's an assistant coach here, a lot of action for him to go to a PSAC school, the Pennsylvania schools like Shippensburg and those, and they want him to play linebacker.
4th down, it's decision time once again for Willingboro, and it looks like they're going to punt it away. Green has been successful through the air, although most of his passes have been relatively short. He's 4 for 5, 23 yards thus far on the evening. Willingboro forced to punt it away. Punt is high, will bounce short and be downed at the 35-yard line. So West Deptford will take possession at their own 35. We mentioned that Willingboro would need a protracted drive. It was not very long. Let's get back to Willingboro. So Kennedy were the Griffins, which is half Eagle and half Lion, okay? And the reason is there were 2 junior high schools in Willingboro. There was Levitt Junior High School and Memorial Junior High School. One was the Eagle, and Eagles, one was the Lions. So then they got Willingboro, which is also a half Eagle and half Lion, all right? and it's just that one has a lion's head and one has a lion's body. So whoever was coming up with the mascots in Willingboro, they had too much time on their hands. There's a lot of thinking going on. And of course, the other issue, of course, is many people struggle with, well, how do you pronounce it?
And if we look right here on the sideline, we can see training staff talking on to Sam Kendall White, the receiver on that last play. Looks like he's getting attention, maybe for concussion.
Well, again, West Deptford will keep it on the ground with Hoyt, and he'll pick up about 4 or 5.
And that's McEwen, and he's he was a good starter for them. He's an outstanding player in that situation. But once again, I think Clyde has thrown everything but the kitchen sink so far. He's run every almost play in the arsenal. It was interesting because he told me last week they threw 11 passes. So we'll see.
Well, if you continue to have success on the ground, no reason to put it up in the air. Second down for the Eagles. Again, it's going to be Lim, and he'll have enough for the first down.
And you're right, every play is gaining almost 5 yards of play. Plus it's taking the time, and we're going to run down at the end of the first quarter very soon. And Willingboro's had one first down in the whole quarter. Here's that play again. That's at that wing T sweep. And you can see how it's taken back inside the tackle. I mean, they're running a 40 front up there. I think they're going to have to make a couple maneuvers in here and put more people on the line of scrimmage.
And again, another handoff here well into Willingboro territory for Lim, a gain of 9. Lim continues to pound the football.
And if you get a chance, that was great pull there by Ray Chazinski, the offensive guard leading him on the outside. It just shows to show you how well the offensive line has come around. You know, Rob, I was mentioning that a team improves the most between its first game and second game. And I think we're seeing tremendous improvement here in West Deptford. They were not pleased with how they played last week, except for defensively, and they're just doing a great job on offense.
That'll do it for the first quarter here from West Deptford. It's been all Eagles. They lead Willingboro by the score of 14-0 on your Atlantic City Electric. Game of the week. Bill O'Brien actually. Welcome back to West Deptford High School. Second quarter here. It's been all Eagles, and they will continue on the drive, and the push from inside has been significant all evening long. TJ Hoyt with another big pickup.
Yeah, just straight ahead football. Have your fullback have some momentum when he reaches the line of scrimmage, lower his shoulders, and get as many yards as you can. Another first down, West Deptford.
Unofficially, Hoyt with 5 carries for 20 yards. He has a touchdown on the evening. There you see Oreo, who's had a great night. All he had to do is hand off to Lim, McCown, and Hoyt.
Yeah, it's a great deal.
First and 10. Again, look at all the space. Tremendous opportunity for McCown to showcase what he can do.
And that's a good old jet sweep with McEwen carrying the ball. Defensive end went inside, figured the ball was going the other way, and there was just nothing but green grass ahead of him until he's pushed out of bounds outside the 15-yard line. And West Deptford just right now is unstoppable.
23-yard gain, and there you see him again.
Yep. And
Willingboro really has no answers at this point.
No, and that's absolutely the right answer. They're going outside, they're going inside, they're running reverses.
First and 10 from the 15.
First and 10 at the 15. And again, this time, Willingboro holds.
You know, offensive coordinators pick this up all the time, but when Oreo handed the ball inside that time, he ran around to the outside to see if anybody was there to take him. I think sometime later tonight you'll see that same play with Oreo keeping the ball outside, almost like a naked bootleg.
Second down and 10. That is the first time that Willingboro has held West Deptford to no gain on a handoff. Oreo throws across the middle, jump ball, and he has his man. First down.
And a little quick little release by the tight end, comes down over the middle. They used to call it like a Mexico pass because you were crossing the border of the linebackers. Threw that pass to Jason Collier with great hands and great size, as you'll see again. Watch this 1-3-step drop, lets him clear the linebackers, throw it up, and Collier just makes an outstanding catch.
Collier, 6'7". I mean, obviously tremendous size. Just another weapon in this West Deptford arsenal. First down and goal. Ball at the 4-yard line for the Eagles. And it's going to be Lim, and Lim untouched. Touchdown.
Whether it's inside, whether it's outside, this is execution at its perfection by West Deptford.
Well, you see some of the crowd here thoroughly entertained as they will try to extend their lead to 21. 10:15 remaining. Lim with 2 touchdowns on the evening. And the extra point is good.
Well, Rob, we talk enough times during the season about statement games. And right now, West Deptford is issuing a statement.
Yeah, and it's being heard loud and clear. You know, speaking with, in terms of Clyde Folsom, a little bit tentative today when I spoke to him. Said, you know, still working out some kinks. They lost so many seniors and not only so much experience, but leadership. And I tell you, it looks like they haven't missed a beat here.
I am telling you, I'm ready to book them for a trip down to Rowan in December, but there's still a lot of season to go. I think he was concerned because there's so much athleticism over there at Willingboro that you can hold and hold and hold and hold and give up a big play. But what he's gotten is just perfection out of his offense.
Well, again, at this point, you got to think if Willingboro doesn't score here, it may be.
Yeah, and I think just
insurmountable.
For morale's sake of the team.
And again, they fall on the football at the 33-yard line. Are you a little surprised not trying to stay on their feet and at least pick up a little bit more yardage? Just maybe break something?
Yeah, I think a big play would really help them. Maybe even a couple first downs back to back, just to give them some confidence that they can move the ball. Conversely, if there's a 10-story building, West Deptford players are now on floor number 12.
First and 10. Willingboro looking for answers. They've been hard to come by thus far. Green working out of the shotgun. 3 receivers set. Green throws. Has his man. Short pickup.
And that's going to be complete to number 81, David Green. Again, that quick, it's out of the spread formation. You're just going to have the receiver go down and out. You're going to pick up 4 or 5 yards every time as long as the ball's on target.
So Trey Green 5 for 6 now, but again, most of them very short passes. He's been accurate, and there we see it again. This time he picks up about 9.
Yeah, but that was working the sidelines on that again. It's to avoid the rush. It's a quick 2-step maneuver, left or right. And he's a left-handed quarterback, so most times he's going to go to the left and then release the ball as fast as you can.
Second and 10. Green will hand it off, and right now Willingboro just cannot generate anything on the ground.
And he makes catches on offense. That was a great play again by Jason Collier there, number 88. And he's living up to all the billings that have been put on him as the next big-time recruit for West Deptford.
Cisse with 4 carries for 0 yards.
And that says it right there.
Again, 3 receiver set. Quick drop, and in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Chris Long.
3rd down and 11.
Well, maybe we're going to have to see now. I think West Deptford secondary will have to be on key. I think Willingboro is going to have to pass the ball down the field. They've got to generate some offense, and right now to give the ball right back to West Deptford, they may not get it again for the rest of the half.
Quick note, Sam Walker-Kendrick was the gentleman that the West Deptford training staff was looking at earlier. He was in on that last play, so that's a good sign.
That's a very good sign.
3rd down and 11 for Trey Green, a 5 receiver set for the senior quarterback. The southpaw drops, has a man, and it's picked off. Picked off at the 45-yard line. And West Deptford continues to put pressure on this Willingboro team.
And just read very, very well by the West Deptford defensive back. Stayed at home, stayed in the zone area, read the ball very, very well, and then headed back the other way. So now look out, here we go, West Deptford again in Willingboro territory, threatening to blow this game open. As you watch again, Green had time to throw, and that's just a great interception right there by Kenny Lim. Kenny Lim just played it well, played the receiver well. Just great job.
Lim has done it all tonight. And now again, West Deptford with the end around and to about the 30-yard line. And that, of course, is Damon McCune.
And that was what we had talked about before on that situation, was get the motion going one way and send the run back the other way. So West Deptford still picks up 5 yards on that play, and Willingboro might consider that to be a blessing.
4 carries and 48 yards. Clyde Folsom has liked what he's seen thus far. They've thrown the ball just one time. That was completed. Essentially a flawless performance at this point. And again, that deception, Lim into the secondary. Lim still on his feet, and Lim needs a host of chimeras to bring him down.
And West Deptford calls that play back-to-back because one halfback gets the handoff and then hands off to the other back, and it's just executed so well with the tight end leading the way. As you can see, here's Lim breaking through the line of scrimmage, lowering the shoulder, and he's just hard to come down. Does not come down with tackle number 1. You know, Coach Folsom is a perfectionist, and he always wants to see everything to be done perfectly well. I think he's going to have a hard time finding anything wrong with this first half.
So the ball's at the 13-yard line after the 17-yard pickup for Lim. 134 yards now, and the numbers continue to impress. Lim with a pair of TDs and an interception already. Again, it's Lim. Lim cuts it back, and the elusive Lim picks up another large chunk. We'll call it 5.
You know, one of the tough things with the wing T offense, especially in high school, is it forces your team to play more of a passive defense, to be away from aggressiveness, because everything can open, and I think that really hurts Willingboro tonight.
Again, you see Lim with the,
Oreo. Look at the size of the hole. I think you and I might have been able to run the ball through that. I might have been able to gain a yard.
Maybe pre-Achilles surgery.
That's right. That's true.
2nd down, we'll call it 5. Oreo and West Deptford continuing to march down the field. And nothing doing there. Looks like a loss of 1.
A little bit difficult now because Willingboro went into their goal line defense at that time. Protecting against the middle gives more people in each gap. And that can take away the inside game, but makes you very, very vulnerable if you get outside the defensive end.
You can see Willingboro with a sizable front line, but breathing heavily. It's very warm today, and conditioning will play a role. But at this point, Willingboro just has to figure out a way to stop this West Deptford offense.
3rd down and 6.
3rd down and 6 now. Oreo has his man towards the end zone, and that is Bookman.
And they bring it back off the bench, and he runs. As we saw before, they got outside the goal line defense. Once they were able to do that, it's just speed. Watch again. It's the jet sweep as we come to the outside. We're outside the defensive end. Great cut right there, and almost another score.
First down and goal. .5:47 left. It's been all West Deptford. And the handoff. Hoyt, touchdown.
Great hard-nosed goal-landing offense there by West Deptford. Give it to your power back to fullback and just have them leg drive into the end zone. Rob, I couldn't have figured this out. 27-0 with 5 minutes 38 seconds left in the first half.
Well, Hoyt now with a pair of touchdowns, both of them 2-yard runs. Both he and Lim accounting for 2 touchdowns apiece. West Deptford will attempt the extra point. It's a low-line drive, and it's no good. So 27-0, maybe the only thing that hasn't gone West Deptford's way tonight.
I'm going to tell you, I think that's the only mistake they've made. It's just, here we're going to get to see again the touchdown play. It's just a fullback straight. It's called a down play where he just goes right down the line of scrimmage, looks for his opening, just drives his shoulders and goes through and scores. Yeah, it's kind of hard to find anything wrong with West Deptford today.
You know, Coach Everett of Willingboro said it's just so difficult to coach against this wing T, and Clyde Folsom and his staff do such a phenomenal job because the kids are so disciplined. And he said all week long it was tough on our kids. They were confused because it's a whole different offense that they have to defend against. He said most of the week we practice without a football.
Yeah, and that's a point. That's a very good point of how you do it, because it's tough. Your scout team has to run their offense, and it's hard if you don't run the wing T to replicate that.
.538, West Deptford to kick it away again. 27-0 lead with still plenty of time left in this first half. And they decide to fall on it once again. That's the 33. You know, and Cisse is the one falling on the football. He's a running back.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I guess they preached to him all week, don't let the ball bounce around. But at that point, Willingboro just needs something exciting to happen. They got to do something to feel good about themselves at halftime.
A couple of larger schools, Cherokee at Kingsway next week, your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. Kingsway coming off a tough loss to Williamstown last week. Cherokee with an exciting overtime win over their arch rival Shawnee. Green and the offense for Willingboro. Quick outlet pass, and Green has been very, very accurate, and he picks up the first down.
Yeah, that was complete there. Number 3, Chris Long, working the sidelines, trying to get positive yardage. They did. It's interesting, Rob, Cherokee this year, which was always a smash-mouth football team, went to the spread, and they're now running a hurry-up offense, and Kingsway I'll enjoy seeing because it's coached by Mark Hendricks, who I had the privilege of coaching at Deptford.
They marked him shy of the first down, and Green will throw the football up once again, and this time a pickup of about 6.
And some good positiveness right there. There's quick passes out. That was David Green making the catch. Both of them is working the sidelines and trying to get positive yardage, because that's what they need. If they get a score before halftime, at least they'll feel that it's possible in the second half.
8 for 11 with 52 yards in the air for Willingboro. That's their only means of really picking up yardage. Again, a quick little swing pass, and bulling his way forward, falling to about the 43-yard line. And that, of course, is David Green. We talked a little bit about him before, a pickup of 8.
And you got to see a little bit of his athleticism there. He's big, he has speed, and he's toughness, has great toughness. And that seems to be the game plan of what they're doing. We'll see if they try to take one down the field.
Clock continues to move here. 4 minutes and 35 seconds now remaining in this first half. 3 receiver set for Trey Green and Willingboro as he looks to the sideline and tries to settle this offense. Green back to pass, has a man, and finds a seam in this West Deptford defense, the largest pickup of the day.
And that was a great thing. That was Nasir Murray, who Coach Everett is very, very high on. He just ran a seam pattern off a play action As you'll see right here, you'll see the fake play action. Quarterback has plenty of time to throw, and he is wide open, just delivered the ball right to Nasir Murray.
21-yard pickup for Willingboro, first down and 10. Green continues to be impressive as the quarterback will now take it out of the shotgun. Throws it up, has his man, and just out of the reach of his intended receiver, David Green.
Second down and 10.
So I think we're seeing what Willingboro thinks they're going to have to do to be successful. They have big receivers. They have speed. They're just trying to get the ball to him and have quarterback Trey Green feel comfortable about his position in the pistol.
Second down and 10 for Willingboro. They stopped the clock with exactly 4 minutes remaining. And they'll hand it off right up the gut, and some positive yardage here.
And that's what passing sometimes will do. It'll open up those seams because the linebackers will start to pass hail out. That was number 10, Sam Walker Kendrick.
Third down and 3.
Jihad Green with a pickup of 7. A makeable third down now, third down and 3. Green flushed out of the pocket, throws, and has a man. No signal yet.
And I think that will be an incomplete pass. It actually dropped outside of his hands. It actually is an interesting situation. When he rolled outside the end, most offensive coordinators will want the quarterback to run the ball and get the first down first. And he looked for the touchdown. So this is a big 4th and 3 for Willingboro.
Did not see that pass fall. Third down completion goes for naught. It's now 4th down and 3, 3:26 remaining. And a big play here for Willingboro if they have any hopes of making this a football game. Trips left for Trey Green. Kendrick in the backfield. Green, swing pass, has his man, and it's knocked down and falls incomplete. Nasir Murray unable to come away with it, and West Deptford's defense holds.
And that's Kenny Lim again. Coach Folsom said earlier in the year he thought he had a chance to be one of the best players ever to play at West Deptford after having a fabulous sophomore year. Watch how he just breaks on the ball. I'm sure Willingboro thought that was an easy completion for a first down, and Lim just did an outstanding job.
Well, Trey Green kind of had his way throwing the football, but his last 3 passes have fallen incomplete, and Clyde Folsom and this West Deptford defense have figured it out. Timeout on the field here. 3:23 remaining, and Willingboro really forced to try to come away with a turnover now.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're going to have to take chances, and it'll be interesting to see whether Coach Folsom runs the ball and just eats up the clock and doesn't give Willingboro another chance, because he has an outstanding quarterback who can throw the ball and can run when he gets outside the defensive end. So we'll see if they throw a couple waggle solids in, which is where they keep everybody inside, and then the quarterback just takes off and runs, or whether they run the true waggle pass and let the tight end go.
Dancing with the Gloucester County Stars, that will be aired every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in September at 12 and 8 p.m. And Freddie, I want to see you out there.
I'll tell you
shaking
what,
it.
I have an Achilles torn tendon too at that point, so I think you and I would be kind of a disaster, but that'd be fun to do.
We could maybe do a 3-legged dance.
Yeah, we could do that. That would work.
1st and 10.
1st and 10, West Deptford. They'll try to add to this lead. Warrior hands off, and again, a lot of space here for the Eagles, and just bullying his way forward.
And just looking as far as the defensive coordinator, it's just there's no linebacker scrape outside. The linebackers are so conscious on the inside game that once you get outside the defensive end, just McEwen was just naming his yardage.
16-yard pickup, and he continues to add to these impressive totals. 64 yards in this first half for McCown. Lim leads all rushers with 139 yards. Over 200 yards rushing already in this first half. Right up the gut. Pickup of maybe 4, and that's Hoyt.
And some of this also is kind of interesting. The points sometimes take care of itself. The physicalness of the game is what really hasn't affected. When they run Hoyt up the middle behind that offensive line, it's just delivering punishment to the Willingboro defensive lineman. We got to give a lot of credit to the offensive line up there. That's Tyler Cobb, Ray Chesnitsky, T-Sear Money, Ty Thurston, Bobby Metz. They're just outstanding blockers.
Inside handoff, inside sweep, maybe a yard.
And that was that single back play, played very, very well by the defensive end from Willingboro. He stayed at home, he didn't follow and run away to the opposite side and was able to make the tackle. And we have a timeout called on the field by the officials.
That's McCown, who is looking as though he has a cramp. McCown, 65 yards rushing on 6 carries thus far.
And I think you just said Lim has over 100 yards rushing in the first half, and they have over 200 yards rushing. That's phenomenal statistics.
You know, if you're a football team that can consistently run the football well, I mean, first of all, you can mitigate the number of errors you make, and you keep your defense off the field.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. When we ran the wishbone, the biggest thing was it could eat up time. So it frustrated the other team's defense or offense because they just weren't getting the ball. And that is really teaching physicality, toughness, that usually defensive players get to hit somebody on every play. Now you tell your lineman, you're going to hit somebody on every play. You're just going to pound. And that's what West Deptford does a great job at.
So they will start the clock up once again as West Deptford has been in control all evening long. Second down. Strike that, third down. Lim beats his man in the backfield, and Lim well on his way and angles out of bounds.
If you get a chance to see a replay for that, the execution by West Deptford was so good that 9 of the 11 players for Willingboro thought the ball was going to the left side. Watch it again. You can see it's that fake back-to-back, and everybody went to the left-hand side of the offensive line, and Lim just was out there by himself. Just great execution. Again, what I meant on that one is that, remember when they run the play and one halfback hands off to the other halfback, this halfback just kept the ball and went to the outside.
Another impressive pickup, 12 yards back into Willingboro territory with 2 minutes left, first down and 10. Oreo hands it off, it's Bookman, and Bookman will drag the pile forward. They just keep bringing one more talent off of the bench after another.
I was going to say, when they lost Anthony Seas and Gismondi and from last year, I thought, wow, they're going to take a step back. They're just keeping bringing on. But it reminded me what was said last year. West Deptford was 12-0 in varsity. They were 9-0 in JV and 8-0 in freshman. They were 29-0. They did not lose a game on any level, which is a pretty incredible statement.
Well, we've mentioned Bookman, the fourth weapon of this vaunted attack for West Deptford. He has more rushing yards on 2 carries than Willingboro does the entire first half. Here's Lim. Lim right up the middle. Lim pushes forward in another impressive game.
Yeah, the good news now is that for first down here, you get the clock stoppage while they move the chains. If we get a chance, there's a new rule in high school this year that's really beneficial to the offense if there's a penalty down in the last minutes of the game. Watch it. There's that single back again coming up with Lim, breaking it inside the tackle. There's just nobody there, and it's 5, 6, 10 yards, whatever they want to get.
Lim, 14 carries for 158 yards, 2 touchdowns on the evening already. Inside of 45 seconds remaining, Lim is in motion. And the handoff goes right up the middle, maybe a yard for Hoyt.
So now an interesting thing for Coach Folsom, I think he's probably going to just let the clock run. He feels very comfortable with 27 points up there on the board. I think he'll just go into halftime knowing that we played probably as good as we could. But it looks like maybe I'm wrong. There's going to be another play.
Having said that, they could easily call timeout here. So a class move by Clyde Folsom. Second down, and Oreo back to pass, throws it up for grabs, in and out of the hands.
Boy, inches.
Chris Long. Well, they threw me a curveball as well. I thought they were just going to run the clock out, and he goes for the home run ball.
That was inches away from being completion. The defensive back for Willingboro had good position, went up for the interception. It went off his hands and almost into the hands of Chris Holmes. Watch this tip right off the hands, almost a helmet, and then just outside the reach there of number 13 for West Deptford. And that was Mike Gismondi.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised in the future they'd run that same play with Collier, who is 6'7", just have a jump ball. And again, it's going to be Bookman. Bookman brought down after a pickup of a yard, and that will do it for this first half. It's been all West Deptford. We head to the break with the Eagles easily on top by 27. It's your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. Welcome back to West Deptford High School. The Eagles easily on top of Willingboro through the first half, 27-0. Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week kicks off this second half, and Willingboro will pick the ball up at their own 23-yard line, and they'll return it forward for about 3 or 4 yards. A tough first half for Willingboro. Let's take a look. This is what you call a picture of domination.
Well, that's for sure. And you just have to go look at first downs. How about the rush yards? 7 rushing yards for Willingboro in the first half, 264 for West Deptford. And if we look at the bottom, Kenny Lim, 14 carries, 158 yards, 2 TDs, an interception, a pass knockdown, and as might be said, he probably cooked breakfast for the team this morning.
Willingboro comes out in the spread. 5 receivers for Green. Green keeps, throws, home run ball. It's up in the air and it's caught. Caught at the 32-yard line and slung down at the 28.
Now, we have a flag down, and it'll be very interesting to see whether there was a push-off. The throw was short of the receiver who came back, and we'll see if they're going to call offensive pass interference or it's going to be a face mask. Let's see. Pass interference against West Deptford. So I guess they said he impeded the runner coming back, the receiver coming down. So that'll add on yardage at the end of the completion.
28-yard line.
44-yard reception.
And a good call there, if you could see that, as the receiver tried to come back, he was grabbed.
And now a penalty.
Flag on the play.
Looks like we may have a motion going against Willingboro.
So interesting, we had no penalties in the whole first half at all. We have 2 penalties on back-to-back plays here.
So it's actually offsides is the official call. 5-yard penalty.
Up in the neutral zone, it'll be a 5-yard penalty. 1st and 15.
And that was well spoken by the public address announcer. If you line up in the neutral zone in high school football, it is a penalty.
First down and 15, Willingboro. Green again, empty backfield here. Trips left, Twins right. Green throws, has his man, and it looks like we're going to have another penalty flag here.
And that'll be 3 in a row thrown by the referee, and we got the signal already for holding.
Well, I think, Fred, you went down there and said, if you guys want some TV time.
That's right. And in fact, we didn't even probably announce their names, so maybe that's what they're mad at.
That may be it.
So that's Rich Tarcacci is the referee, the umpire Pat Titus. The line judge will be John Foster. The linesman will be Ken Sugars. The back judge will be Steve Bradley, and the legendary clock operator is Bruce Davidson.
So it's going to be 30 yards to pick up a first down here.
He's going to bring it back to the 48-yard line.
1st and 30. Willingboro shooting themselves in the foot here with a couple of penalties. Again, it's Green this time with 1 man in his backfield, trips left, Green looks to throw the pass inside. A little dump on the seam, and that falls incomplete, second down.
And that's, if some of the old viewers will know, there used to be a player for Notre Dame named Rocket Ishmael. They called the play that he ran all the time the rocket screen. That's what it is. Your wide receiver comes down inside as the linebackers go out. The ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage so linemen can be downfield.
Second down and 30.
Another flag on the play.
And there's that 50-50 call, Rob. Was it illegal procedure or was it encroachment?
They will huddle, and this one, they're going to talk about it one more time. Offside, West Deptford.
An encroachment against West Deptford will be a 5-yard penalty. It'll make it 2nd and 25.
Willingboro will not huddle. Second down and 25. Trips left for Green. Green with time, over the middle, has his man, finds a opening in that zone defense, and that will be more than enough for the first down, and West Deptford has a player down.
And great athleticism there. That was Josh Robertson making the catch over the middle. The offensive line giving Green time to make the throw. You watch it here. He's got over the 4 seconds allowable and finds Robertson wide open. And the deepest penetration of the game now for Willingboro in the second half as they move down to the 12-yard line. Well, Rob, it's got to be a little plus now for Willingboro. I'm sure they got an earful at halftime, and they've come down and been able to move the football and also keep the West Deptford offense off the field.
Well, already 73 passing yards in this half for Willingboro, 154 on the evening for the Chimeras. And
we were saying it was funny when they used to have 2 schools at Willingboro. When they merged into one, Kennedy and Willingboro, everybody thought that they were going to be an absolute dominant power. And I can remember one time reading a Burlington County Times article, and they called them Willingboro. The only thing missing was the W.
Wow, how about that?
Isn't that interesting?
Now that's rough. I'd never heard that one before. All right, first down and 10 at the 14. Green, quick out, has his man, and that'll be close to a first down. That's Long on the reception.
And the thing looking right now, we said it's possible that these 2 teams could meet again. So Steve Everett right now trying to see what works. He could get down and get scores, but if they ever meet again and they have to change the game plan, obviously this is what they're going to be looking to do.
Green has thrown the ball already 20 times in this football game. Very rarely do you see that at the high school level. Green with time, flushed out of the pocket, throws it up for grabs, and that will fall incomplete. He did have an intended receiver there, so Green's 21st attempt is incomplete, bringing up
and again,
another opportunity for the Borough.
We got to give credit to the secondary that time for West Deptford. That's commonly known as a coverage act. He had the time to throw the ball. It's just no one was open, and finally took this good part of Valor there and threw the ball out of bounds.
And again, you get a sense of their lack of confidence in that running game. Second down and 2, they're still throwing the football. We'll see if they run the football here with Kendrick in the backfield. Third down and 2. Green has not run out of the pocket thus far. He's shown some escapability, but he has thrown the ball consistently. So next week, we mentioned we have Kingsway and Cherokee. Cherokee, a big win last week. Right now, as we speak, I know this game's on tape, but right now, Cherokee leads Timber Creek at the half. Many people have Timber Creek as the top team in South Jersey. We're going to see an outstanding Cherokee team next week.
Yes, and I'm a little different on that. I honestly think that the top 4 teams in South Jersey may all be non-publics. I think Camden Catholic has an outstanding team. We'll find out when they go down to play another outstanding team, Holy young spirit.
Who's in a battle right now with St. Joe's this week.
Yes, and then that'll be the third team. And I don't think St. Augustine is that far away.
No.
They lost to Malvern Prep, and which is an outstanding team. They might be the 4 best teams. So we'll see what happens.
There you see Clyde Folsom urging his defense on. 3rd down and 2, 9:59 remaining in this third quarter. And Willingboro, again, with Kendrick in the backfield. 4 receiver set, twins both left and right. Green, flushed out of the pocket, throws it up, jump ball, and it is caught, but falls incomplete.
Now, it's interesting. The ball was caught out of bounds, so it's not definitely a touchdown, but we have a flag from the back judge coming in on the play, so we'll see if there was interference, maybe a push to push him out of bounds.
Pass interference against West Deptford.
And that will be an automatic first down. So if we see it again, watch 13. He does the out to the flag. And it looks like they're going to call number 13 from West Deptford there on pass interference by pushing the receiver. So that's Mike Gismondi. If the ball's in the air, that's a foul. But if the ball's not in the air, that is not a foul.
First down and goal at the 3-yard line. Green looks like he will work under center with Kendrick in the backfield. Handoff inside. Kendrick pushes forward. Not in the end zone, however.
And I'll tell you what, Willingboro is going to have to earn every yard down here. West Deptford's goal line defense is going to put everybody in the gaps, just get them penetration to try to stop any action. We'll see if Willingboro goes to some outside game, whether they roll out Green or run an option.
Officially, Kendrick, or unofficially, I should say, Kendrick, 2 carries, 0 yards.
And that's pretty much been the story of the night.
And again, they'll run it, and Kendrick has nowhere to go.
He might have lost a yard.
Will be fortunate to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Medicaid at the line of scrimmage.
So this could be very frustration time for Willingboro as we have an injured player on the field. They've driven down the field. They need to get points, and that is That
is Kendrick.
Yes.
Well, he's run the ball 3 consecutive times, or I should say 3 times tonight, and 0 yards on each carry. And here you see in the scrum, he took an initial big hit, and now it's hard to see what goes on in that big pile.
It was the famous thing. He hit a stone wall of West Deptford defenders. There was no push off the offensive line by Willingboro. So hopefully he'll be fine and he'll be in good shape. It's going to be interesting. There's some very interesting proposals coming up, Rob, about changes to the playoff system in New Jersey. They are considering playing 8 straight weeks of your schedule, and the 9th week now will become the first week of playoffs. They're going to take they'll still have 4 regions. They're going to take 32 teams, but it's the best 32 PowerPoint rating teams.
Okay.
And they don't have to be in your same section. So like West Deptford, they would put like the number 1 seeds in their home sections, but it's possible that a team like Haddonfield or whatever could go to play in the Central. You're going to play 3 games. The final game of the playoffs would be the week before Thanksgiving.
Would this be a state championship then?
Well, they're going to be 1 game away. They're going to play the sectional championships the week before Thanksgiving, let teams play Thanksgiving. Then they'll come back the following week, and they're going to call it Bowl Week. They're going to have the 2
Bowl Week?
Yeah, you're going to love this.
Okay.
They take the 2 highest enrollment teams in the group, the 4 public school groups that won, and they're going to play each other somewhere.
So it's not a state championship.
So it's not a state championship. So it'll stop there.
What is the reticence about having a state champion?
Officially, they tell us that there's nothing in the Constitution says no state championship in football.
But they have that.
But they have
the
it
Catholic
non-public,
schools.
which breaks every rule that they have.
I'm sorry, non-public, not Catholic.
Yeah,
schools, right.
but that's 100% correct. So this is maybe a way to bring it in. I mean, they could easily play a state championship if they didn't play Thanksgiving days, but that's a big day for most of the high schools that are around.
Now you say they're not going to play on Thanksgiving in terms of the schedule, but some teams, as you mentioned, have a huge
you're going to play.
So are you forced to then play on Thanksgiving, or can you have a
you
bye
can play,
week?
You can do the bye weeks. You can do whatever you want to do if it goes through. The interesting thing that's going to be played in that is that the team that doesn't make the playoffs can play 2 consolation games.
Two consolation
games, and the team that gets knocked out.
Why? Let me ask you a question, Fred. Why would you want to play 2 consolation?
Well, you're right. The only thing you're looking at is if you played 1 consolation game, you'd be playing on the first weekend of November, and if you had a Thanksgiving day, you wouldn't be playing for maybe 24 days. So, and they're also going to give the teams that lost the first round of the playoff can play a team in the consolation bracket the next week if it all goes through.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
We see Kendrick favoring the one leg. Hopefully he will be okay. And Willingboro continues to struggle here on the scoreboard, and now they're losing a key member of their team. Hopefully he will rebound. Inside of 9 minutes left in this third quarter, Willingboro still 3rd down and goal. 2 straight runs have produced absolutely nothing. We'll see if Green goes to the air. Typically he has, working out of the shotgun. Green throws it up, has his man, it is caught, and it's a touchdown.
All right, good positive vibes there for Willingboro. They get on the board. Green doing what he does quick, and he throws to his best receiver at that time. That's number 81, David Green, for the touchdown.
So a 3-yard touchdown pass with 8:44 left, and Willingboro will try to draw to within 20 points. Spot and the kick.
Well, we'll just
Not
call it no good.
Extra point attempt is no good.
The other thing that's kind of interesting when we were talking the playoffs, this is an agreement between the West Jersey Football League and the big super schools from the north, the Don Boscos, the St. Joe Montvales.
So each of those tentatively are in agreement on the way that it's currently constructed, what you just proposed.
Yes, because the other proposal that was up at the time was to make the state into 7, that they would take 2 sections, North and Central South would be one reason, and they play 7 groups. And if you think the playoff is watered down with 5 groups, you could imagine what it would be like if they went to 7 or 8
Well,
groups.
first of all, I don't understand how the state can somehow suggest that we need to have 5 or even 7 groups. The state of Texas, how many New Jerseys can you fit inside of Texas?
Oh, absolutely.
They can figure out a way to have a state champion. We can't. I don't understand.
The bottom line is that they would love to play a state championship. They got to find a way.
No, I don't think they would love to play a state championship.
You think that's right?
I don't think they would.
I mean, you might be right.
I think they prefer having 20 state champions. Well, actually more than 20.
Yeah, 24.
Right?
24 state champions.
I mean, that's a lot of state champions.
With kids wearing a jacket that says state
exactly.
champion.
24 different jackets.
And geez, in baseball, there's only one.
Yeah.
In each group.
That's right.
Set the kick off.
Pooch kick taken and fallen on at the 44-yard line.
Well, that's what makes high school so very interesting, because you never know, it can change instantaneously.
Yeah. Well, West Deptford will continue to try to work the ball on the ground and eat up some clock. They've been very successful thus far. 27-6, your score.
And knowing Coach Folsom like I do, he won't want to see the execution drop off one single bit. He wants to go back and do everything right.
1st and 10. And this one's going right up the gut. That's Hoyt.
And we'll see the adjustments. It looks like Willingboro has put more people on the inside. And as soon as the people up top from West Deptford will see that takes place, you're going to see the game immediately go outside.
11 carries now for Hoyt. A pair of touchdowns, 30 yards on the evening. And again, it's going to be Lim. He's been so dangerous. Lim breaking one tackle across the 45, angles out of bounds. He'll have enough for the first down.
Yeah, great call there by Coach Folsom. Willingboro was bringing their linebackers and putting them right up on the line to try to disrupt the play before it got started. And if you get outside, you're able to gain good yardage. That's what Lim did.
Well, Lim,
watch this again. He just gets to the outside. This is, you can see, and that's a great move right there to make everybody miss, but there's nobody out there. It's just the secondary member that's there. And good old number 7, Shaleen Williams, is the only one left out there on an island.
Lim, 15 carries, 166 yards, about 11 yards per carry for Lim.
And that's Hoyt. And once again, we got to give a good shout out here. The offensive line for West Deptford, that's Tyler Cobb wearing number 63, Ray Chazinski number 60, the center Tasmir Money, number 50, number 52 Ty Thurston, number 76 Bobby Metz. Though I know Coach Folsom grades every one of his linemen, and I'm sure their grades are going to be A's for this week.
2nd and 10. 7:30 left. Bookman strings it outside, and he's dropped for a rare loss.
And that's a great play on that one. Looks like a Willingboro player had the helmet came off. Now, if I'm not wrong, he has to go out for a play if the helmet comes out on its own, which is what had happened. Here you see again, it's just a jet sweep outside. Watch this play. Great tackle, aimed right at the knees. As he gets up, it's almost like a celebration here. Takes his helmet off, and he'll sit out the next play, but that could even be a penalty.
3rd down and 12. We'll see whether Oreo goes to the air. He is 1 for 2 on the evening. Collier with the lone reception for the Eagles. Oreo throws and looks for Collier. That falls incomplete. Outstanding coverage by Willingboro's Shaleen Williams.
And that was just off the play action. It was called a belly pass, where you fake to the fullback going up inside and run outside. And here's a nice plus for Willingboro. They stop West Deptford on their offensive drive, the first stop they've had of the entire night, and scored. So we'll see what happens on the next drive.
Very little clock used as well. 6:33 left. West Deptford to punt it away. A rarity here. High booming punt. Fair catch called and taken. That's at about the 17-yard line. 1st down and 10 for Willingboro. You know, just again, a general overview of this West Deptford team. You know, there's a lot of teams that boast good defenses, good offenses. You know, West Deptford, there's no realm that they don't really seem to have polish on. This special teams crew of West Deptford just as good as their offense and defense.
And that's true. And Folsom is very, very driven on, it's not about you, it's about the team. And they just all do their jobs they're supposed to do. They stay in their locations, and that's why they're successful. That's why they're the gold standard.
1st down and 10. Green throws, has his man, hit immediately, and it's rolled incomplete as he tried to hook up with Josh Robertson.
And that was just great break on the ball done by the outside defensive back, and just delivered a headache to the wide receiver. Watch this collision. Bang. And you can see the ball go away. And the receiver's holding his hands down, but that was a tremendous hit outside.
23 pass attempts for Green tonight, 165 yards. Through the air, he has thrown 1 pick. That was to Kenny Lim. Green with time. Still finding space, throws, has a man down the sideline looking for Green, and that falls incomplete. But, you know, we mentioned before Trey Green in the open. He's someone who is getting some looks at some smaller D1 schools. You like his composure in the pocket. He's not impatient.
I was very impressed. What you said was right on mark. If you watch in here, count the time he has. He doesn't rattle himself and throw the ball away immediately. He's still looking down the field as he's rolling out. That is good composure. That's something that the next level is looking for, because they can develop the arm. They can put him in the weight room to whatever's needed.
Surprised we haven't seen him use his feet thus far when being flushed out of the pocket, but he has been successful through the air. 2nd down and 10 4 receivers, twins both left and right. Green again with time to pass now, flushed out. He's in trouble. Throws it up for grabs, has his man. It's Green. We'll see. Looks like no penalty here.
Incomplete.
And a lot of contact.
And it seems like right now when he gets in trouble, he looks to wherever he would see number 81, David Green, and try to get him the ball and figure that he can jump up and get it, because that was basically just thrown up for grabs. Here you see it again. Watch, he's got plenty of time. There's nobody around. He escapes the really good pressure that was put on by West Deptford. And again, that's great defensive coverage by Mike Gismondi.
Burrow to punt it away. Kick will bounce at the 44 and take a West Deptford roll. And now a penalty flag here. Not sure where this flag is coming from. It looks like something maybe even from the sideline. I'm not entirely sure what happened.
Which could be interesting, because that could be participation. We just want to mention that that was a great pass rush done by number 66, Nick Janzuska, the nose tackle in West Deptford's defensive look, and can line up almost any other place. And that is, as you see it here, it's going to be a sideline warning. The sideline warning is going to be called on West Deptford. The first time, that's what it is, a sideline warning. So it's a dead ball sideline warning against West Deptford. All that means is the next time an official does that, it would be a penalty against West Deptford. You can only be, if you look down the field, you can see some dotted lines. You have to be behind those dotted lines. The only people that are allowed to be there are the coaching staff.
Sideline warning against West Deptford, 5-yard penalty. First and 10 from the 46-yard line.
So they are assessed a 5-yard penalty. Ball spotted at the 46-yard line. First and 10 Eagles. Here comes Oreo, who has directed this offense to 27 points, all of them coming in the first half. 2 touchdown runs by both Hoyt and Lim. Oreo again will hand it off. And you see the explosiveness of this West Deptford offense.
And also what I'm impressed with, too, the vision of the running backs.
Vinny Scarrato, your ball carrier.
That's a good name.
Yeah, that's a good name in West Deptford, right?
Yeah. Watch again, you can see it's just a quick jet sweep. He gets the ball in his hands. He looks for the opening where he sees his vision takes him, and he falls forward for yards gain. That is a great name. One of the great Scarratos to play at West Deptford and end up playing at Penn State.
He's a pretty good baseball player, too.
I'm sure.
All the way down to the 30-yard line. West Deptford continues to pound the football. That was Hoyt.
Just physical football. Go right after him.
So Hoyt with his biggest gain of the evening. 13 yards on the carry. First down and 10 at the 30. Good news, the band is back.
Just what we needed, right?
They do a tremendous job here.
They are. They're excellent.
Just, unfortunately, we are literally in the middle of the drum section. First and 10. It's Bookman. End around. Bookman. Outside and swung down after a pickup of 3 or 4.
And a good outside contain there by Chris Long in the outside thing. Now, this is great for Coach Folsom because he gets to get to look at all different backs. He keeps his back safe and secure, I guess we can say, for the next week. Watch this again. This is Bookman. You fake to the fullback. You hand outside. There's the guard leading the play. Bookman gets outside, and just holding his position well was Chris Long, and gets his head and shoulders across, and that's what makes the tackle.
Second down, Eagles. And it looks to be a timeout called on the field by West Deptford. Well, knowing Clyde, he'd like to get a little greedy here, score another touchdown. And
well, again, I always have fun with Clyde because I always figure he's like Bobby Knight. and he coaches against the game. And anytime his teams take the field, he wants them to execute and perform to the top of the ability. And sometimes he gets a bad rap because he scores 60 points a game, but he demands perfection.
So there you see the band of Willingboro High School, my proud alma mater. Arguably the greatest athlete to ever grace our planet, Carl Lewis.
Right, he was
from Willingboro, a few years older than myself, but I tell you, just a phenomenal athlete. And one thing people don't understand, Carl was a very good soccer player too.
That's interesting.
His older brother Cleve played professional soccer.
Okay.
Carol, of course, also won her fair share of medals and was a tremendous athlete. Both of her parents were gym teachers in the Willingboro School District. I was lucky enough to have his mom as a gym teacher. And
I'm sure
they started the Willingboro
people.
Track Club, and that's kind of why Willingboro was so successful in track for such a long period of time. And the handoff again. West Deptford continuing to pound the football on the ground. A short pickup of 2 or 3.
Now, a question that might come down involved in that one. Was Willingboro originally Levittown?
You know, it was. And again, Willingboro changed its name. I think originally it was Wellingsboro.
Okay.
Under the British, became a Levittown, and then they changed it back to Willingboro. Levittown was, unfortunately associated with a lot of discrimination policies, so they changed the name. Bookman into the secondary, and Bookman with his largest pickup of the evening.
And great running by Bookman. He saw the hole. He's got quickness when he gets to the hole, but he also has vision to see what he can do afterwards. So Kenny Lim getting a nice little break right now, and they're not losing too much. That's that single back where it's almost like a reverse coming around on the inside. Good hole, good misdirection done by West Deptford.
Bookman, 30 yards on 6 carries. Continuing to add to these impressive totals on the ground for West Deptford. And the handoff, it's Scarrato.
Baby Scarrato.
Fighting for those extra yards. Again, what we said last, I really honestly believe, unless there's a big change, West Deptford, Haddonfield, Cinnaminson, Cedar Creek, and Willingboro will probably be the 5 best teams in Group 2. Now, the only thing Willingboro is going to have to think about, they're 0-2, and they can't have too many losing games, but they'll actually pick up power points in this game because they pick up points for West Deptford wins.
Again, the handoff inside. Not a whole lot there. Scarrato once again.
Brought that at the 14-yard line.
And of course, the good thing about for West Deptford is it's moving the clock. We're just about over quarter number 3.
That should be, in fact, the last play of the third quarter. Scarrato starting to see the football a little bit here in this second half. He has 4 carries for 12 yards, and that should do it here in the third quarter. After 3 quarters of play, West Deptford on top by 3 touchdowns over Willingboro. Your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week on the GCEN.
Gotcha.
Welcome back. Oreo now to throw the football. He'll keep on his feet, and he's slung down shy of the first down to pick up about 3 yards.
And the first time tonight we've seen Peter Oreo carry the football. He has been a tremendous weapon, especially in the state sectional championship game last year. And it'll bring a good challenge here for West Deptford. Watch Oreo again trying to get outside. And that's just great speed and athleticism there by number 24 from Willingboro, and that's Albert Now.
4th down and 5.
Looks like a field goal attempt coming up here for West Deptford. It's going to be a 29-yard field goal by number 80, Mike Bilodeau.
And Willingboro jumps off sides. This may result in a first down, if in fact it goes against Willingboro.
And there's the first time we've got to see discipline in a situation where they used just a strong count and draw Willingboro right off sides.
Willingboro's pointing as if it is West Deptford who was the guilty party.
And we're going to see if it's going to go for a first down. There it is, encroachment against Willingboro.
And it is a first down. Wow. Well, that hurt. There was a glimmer of hope here for Willingboro. West Deptford could not convert on the field goal, but it's going to be first down, and at the very least, they're going to be able to eat up a large chunk of clock, and that's a morale killer.
West Deptford now is bringing Kenny Lim back into the game. So he had his rest.
First and goal from the 7.
First down and goal, Eagles at the 7-yard line. Oreo with Lim in motion will hand it off. Short pickup for Hoyt, about 2 yards.
6-yard line. Gain of 1 on the play.
Second down and goal.
And we got a little moment here because we have Kenny Lim down on the ground and he's holding. Well, we don't even want to speculate, but he is down on the ground right now. He just came back in the game. Hopefully it's just a cramp for him.
Well, that would obviously be a major loss for West Deptford, but it looks like it may be a cramp, in fact, so that's good news.
That is good news. It looks like they're working on the calf, so that's a very good
It's
thing.
not good news that he has a cramp, but it could have been a lot worse.
That's exactly right.
So there you see Lim being worked on.
That's the good news. He's back on his feet.
This is the longest drive of the evening that West Deptford is currently on. There you see Willingboro's schedule there here. Going to face Delran next week, who is a bit of a wild card. Then Ewing, Holy Cross with a good team, and Woodrow Wilson has been phenomenal. Tonight again, Nick Cargman is having a big night. Bordentown, Collingswood, and Robbinsville. And Willingboro is going to have to turn it around quickly if they hope to make the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Holy Cross is a team that throws the ball, and so does Woodrow Wilson, which will be interesting. And Collingswood's another power team.
Second down and goal with Scarrato in motion. And again, the misdirection finds Bookman, and Bookman finds his way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Just great patience by Bookman. He let everything set up. He saw his opening, broke right in the end zone. The interesting thing with Scarrato and Bookman, they're both sophomores.
6-yard touchdown run for Bookman. And West Deptford continues their impressive ways on the ground. So Bilodeau on to attempt the point after and extend this West Deptford lead. The kick is up, and the kick is good. So Willingboro with a 28-point lead now.
Here you get to see it again. Watch, it's just a sweep outside with the guard pulling. Bookman sees where the hole's open, beats the outside. Well, that was probably a play before. That wasn't the touchdown play, but it's the same type of play that scores the idea. So West Deptford now scores 34. They've set the tone, and we'll have to say they've definitely put a message into Willingboro. Frank Delano was here this week, the night to scout. He's put a message into Haddonfield. I think every team is going. This will probably be our touchdown play with Bookman. Makes the outside cut. Yep, shoulders square right into the end zone, and really good sportsmanship there by linebacker Zane Hamilton. After he was in the end zone, he released Bookman rather than do a flagrant foul, and that goes back to what you talked about when you said officials talked about how well behaved the Willingboro team is.
You know, one player in particular, Ty Thurston, has had himself a great game. He has really done a tremendous job on that offensive line and pulling guard, and we saw that on the touchdown run. Again, a short squib kick will find its way to the 25-yard line, and Willingboro trying to create something positive. Josh Robertson pounded on the return. No yards on the return, and Willingboro has had a tough night in all realms.
If you got to see it, the tackle hit by Hoyt off special teams on that was a perfect form tackle hit. Wrapped the shoulders, hit with the shoulders, wrapped with the arms, and just lowered the boom on Willingboro's return man, which was Josh Robertson.
Well, Green will have to go to the air. He's been unsuccessful in 4 of his last 5 passing attempts. First down and 10, Willingboro at the 25-yard line. Green, pump fakes. He's going to go long, and he looks for David Green, and this is going to be incomplete.
Yeah, I wouldn't have counted anyway because Green had already stepped out of bounds. But they've run that quick little stop pass, and that time he took off and made that double move. He was definitely open, but unfortunately was out of bounds, and the catch would have all gone for naught.
So as we mentioned, Trey Green has hit upon tough times. 5 of his last 6 have fallen incomplete. He has thrown the football tonight 26 times. 165 yards on the evening. Kenny Lim with the lone interception for West Deptford. Second down and 10. Again, Green back to pass. Scans the field, and he's going to be dropped for a loss.
And again, great coverage in the secondary. Pete Orio's staying at home, stayed to the outside so that Trey couldn't get outside him, and then came in with the other defensive end. They just lowered the boom. Also, great effort by that time by number 66, Nick Janzuska.
Third down and 18, a loss of 8. Now, if West Deptford can hold them here and score a touchdown, then we have a running clock situation.
Yeah, how about that?
Green surveying his offense. Once again working out of the gun. Drops back, quarterback draw. Green will keep. Into the secondary, cuts it back across the grain. Slung down, and I'll have enough for the first down. That's a big pickup, 21 yards.
And, Rob, I go back, that's something you thought that we would see a little bit more of when you get Green to the outside or drop him back like that as the linebackers. Watch, all the linebackers fan to the outside. You can see 52 right there in that situation. Then he goes into the opening, makes a couple good moves, and really a great secure tackle there by Nehemiah Young there to end the play.
Green's 21 yards on that carry, more than Willingboro has had the rest of the evening. And now a timeout for Willingboro.
And again, here's what I think. If Willingboro can get down and maybe pound another score, they can end up going home and feeling a little bit better about themselves. Here's, when we look at West Deptford's schedule, they got Overbrook, Sterling, Woodstown. Haddonfield is, I'm sure, going to be a showcase game on the 20th. They are going to play Cinnamon, who beat Willingboro, and then Collingswood, and, of course, Paulsboro on that Thanksgiving Day Saturday, I think.
Then October 20th game. Circle that one. That's a game that both of those teams, you can pretend all you want. Both of these teams circled that game before the schedule came out and said, this is the one.
Yeah, it's high school football, and you hate to say that two teams don't like each other, but I think they do.
Well, and I think in fairness, they don't like each other because they realize that they're standing in the way of one another.
Yes, and it's been a kind of unique situation in some of the years. The team that wins during the regular season loses in the playoffs.
Yeah, how about that?
So,
first down and 10, 8:44 left in this football game. 5 receivers set for Trey Green and the Chimeras. Trips left, Twins right. Green
Long bomb, and has his man in stride and cut down inside the 10-yard line. Fine pass. Green finds Chris Long, and that's exactly what that pass was. Long and complete.
That's true. And that was called speed, speed, speed. Watch this play by Green. He sets his feet, throws off his back foot, which gives him the velocity, puts it up in the air, and that's just a great catch there by Long.
I tell you what, I thought he outthrew his receiver, but Long showed the Jets, ran underneath it, fine play, gain of 30 yards, and Trey Green back to pass once again. Has some time, flush out of the pocket, picked off on the goal line, and Green just simply underthrew his man. I mentioned before what a night that Ty Thurston has had. Well, he's just added to it.
That's for sure. And an ill-advised throw there by Trey Green. When he looks at the films, he'll realize he should have never thrown that football on that. Say, watch again. He's got plenty of time. He's got the receiver out to the side. He's going to try to innovate. Now, one of the biggest headaches for him in this situation, he's a left-handed quarterback, and he's rolling to the right at that time, which means he's going to have to throw against his body. He just had nothing on that ball.
Josh Robertson was wide open in the end zone. It looked like, as you mentioned, he's going against his body. It looked like the nose of the football just kind of ducked down, and the ball just didn't travel for Green. And it's been that kind of night for West Deptford. They come away with another big defensive stop. They have done it all. Inside handoff here. And again, West Deptford continues to punish this Willingboro defense.
And I think you're not going to see too much more fancy out of West Deptford. I think Clyde would be very, very happy to just run the last 8 minutes off the clock. We always usually figure it's 2 minutes for every first down you get, as long as you don't get that first down on one play like they just did there. But I think they'll start to use the clock, and he's very content with 34-6 being the score.
Hoyt, 10 carries, 55 yards, a pair of touchdowns. Kenny Lim, 15 carries, a pair of touchdowns, 166 yards. And Bookman also with a touchdown. He has carried the football 7 times for 36 yards. Here's Scarrato. Scarrato tripped up. Fine play by Albert Nah.
And that was inches away from being a long gainer. Scarrato just really hit the hole hard and had good vision up the field. He gets that shoestring tackle, which more weight room, as you see in here, will definitely make him break that later on. But that's it. That is a great tackle there, the saving tackle to do that.
Scarrato's 5-yard carry equals his best of the evening. He has 17 on the night, has carried the football 5 times, and we've seen this full offense on display. We see that West Deptford very deep in the skill positions. Scarrato in motion. He'll get the football once again. Scarrato breaking tackles, falling forward, and looks to be just shy of that first down.
And again, what we're looking at Scarrato, he does everything technically perfect. He runs that wing tee the way it's supposed to do. He cuts off that outside foot. Watch again, and takes those 3 steps, makes that cut, avoids that short tackle, and then drives ahead and always falls forward.
West Deptford would like nothing better than a long, protracted drive here, run clock, and keep Willingboro's offense off the field inside of 6.5 minutes remaining. And they will have more than enough for the first down as Hoyt continues to punish.
And he's really, it's funny, last year when Gismondi was playing there and they had different Anthony C's there, and they thought they would be very, very difficult to beat. Watch this power. Following that, that's a great block inside there by number 9, Scarrato. He came inside and on the linebacker. And I'm just very impressed at how they move the ball.
First down and 10. Scarrato. And like a little water bug, picks up a nice chunk. Call it 6.
Now it's interesting when he's listed in the program. He's listed as a running back DB, and I can tell you he's going to get a few carries this year because he really runs hard.
Scarrato doing a nice job just getting that right foot down and cutting it back against the grain, picking up positive yardage. West Deptford is having their way. It's going to be a fun time in West Deptford tonight.
And I think the cheerleaders are going to have a lot to be proud of this year, that's for sure.
2nd down and 4 as we approach 5 minutes remaining now. Again, the handoff, and West Deptford's offensive line having their way. Ball carrier this time was Connor Jupin, his first carry of the night.
And Connor made a very good move. The defensive end did what we used to call a box. They would go outside and come up and protect the outside. He saw it, broke to the inside. You can see that maneuver, and then just dove ahead for the first place. So good, not only good running, but good vision. And I think that's what West Deptford does very, very well.
3rd and 1. Right up the gut, just too easy for West Deptford. TJ Hoyt with a big, big pickup.
And he's your prototypical wing T fullback. Just run hard, deliver the ball, watch the power. That's just a straight action up the middle, and he just wants to score. There's no doubt about it.
I think right now you're just seeing fatigue from this Willingboro defense.
And that's probably a very good point. That's probably right on the money. They've been out on the field a long time today.
And it's a hot night.
Yes.
Hoyt has carried the ball 17 times for 84 yards, 16 away from the century mark. 1st and 10, inside of 4 minutes left. West Deptford will take their time. And again, it's Hoyt.
Tackled at the 30-yard line.
And I think the other thing we look at today, there's no wind. When they played the national anthem today, I thought they didn't put the flag up because it's just limp out there today.
Well, Hoyt will sleep well tonight. He's carried the ball 18 times, the most for any West Deptford player. And he's earned every yard, 88 on the night. Again, as we mentioned, a pair of touchdowns. 2nd down and 6. West Deptford continues to eat clock while keeping the ball on the ground. Scarrato cuts it back inside, and Scarrato seems like he's just gaining confidence.
I think so too, and I tell you, between him and Bookman, they're both quick to the hole. They both don't want to go down. I think this is a great night for West Deptford in the fact that they realize they have a lot of talent. They have a lot of talent in the running back position.
3rd down and 2. Willingboro needing a big stop here to get the ball back. They may not see the football again tonight if West Deptford can come up with that 2-yard carry here. And Hoyt on his way. Hoyt cut down and more than enough for the first down.
You can see every time he touches the ball now, he wants to score, which is really what you want. The wing T offense needs a fullback of this way. Watch, he just takes that direct handoff. He sees the opening. He wants to score. Tried to put a good move down there on the outside, but he is the West Deptford fullback. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
19 carries, 99 yards.
Oh, we got to give him another one.
Well, we'll see how that works. 2 minutes left. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple more times with the football. He's been wearing down this Chimera defense. Scarrato and Oreo keeps, and Oreo dropped for a loss.
And that was outstanding defense there. Let's give kudos at that time to number 56, Anthony Everett. He's a junior for Willingboro. He did exactly what he was supposed to do and made a sure tackle on Pete Oreo.
2nd down and 12. Oreo getting a play run in here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's almost where they could kneel the ball down at the end. We'll see if that's what they choose to do.
Scarrato. Short pickup.
So as this winds down, Rob, this is West Deptford football. West Deptford football, execute, perform, They're waiting in high school. There's 25 seconds of clock before you have to run a play. So West Deptford probably only has to take one more play. Coach Folsom making the call is what he wants to get done. But got to be feeling good. Got to be congratulating his coaches because this was as good as it gets for West Deptford against a quality opponent.
Well, Clyde Folsom continues to impress. Another West Deptford team that looks like they're going to be contending for a championship. They take a knee.
And really classy by coach at the end. Take that knee down. Don't worry about getting a score. You've got the victory. You're going to 2-0. Just an outstanding performance by West Deptford tonight.
Final score, West Deptford 34, Willingboro 6, your Atlantic City Electric Game of the Week. Stick around for post-game interviews and a wrap here on the GCEN.
Welcome back to West Deptford High School. Rob Christ here with winning head coach Clyde Folsom. West Deptford victorious 34-6. Domination on all sides of the football. 389 yards rushing tonight. Clyde, it's hard to find any faults with your team. Which aspect of your team, special teams, defense, offense, were you most pleased with?
Well, I'm really pleased with our offensive line play tonight. They picked up multiple defensive fronts and prevented much penetration. We were able to get the perimeter many times because of that. We felt as though that's what they were going to do, and our O-line just did a great job, and our backs complemented each other very well in terms of picking up perimeter blitzes. And we wanted to control the football, and that comes down to the O-line doing what needs to be done, and they executed very well.
I know when we spoke briefly before the game, you were a little hesitant. You recognized the tremendous talent that Willingboro had. But that first drive, I really think, made a statement. How important was that for you?
Well, again, when you're playing a team of their caliber, it's establishing and maintaining momentum and limiting your penalties and, of course, turnovers, I think, is critical. And that doesn't always happen. I mean, last week we had we had 85 yards in penalties, and we're near perfect with that tonight. So that's a credit to our kids in terms of their discipline and their focus. But establishing momentum early against a team like that is really important, and our kids did a great job with that.
I know you don't like to look too far ahead, but I mean, this is obviously a team that is well on its way to doing some special things once again this year. As a coach, what do you tell your team after you've totally dominated? What has to be the focal point in the weeks ahead?
Well, we're a better football team tonight than we were last Saturday, and we have a long season ahead of us, and one game doesn't make a season. And our kids know that. We've always handled that relatively well, but something you can't take for granted, and something we'll talk about all week. And right now we're on our way to taking the next step. And what's important next Friday night is that we're better than we were tonight.
Well, we've had two players tonight with our own Fred Swartz, who were very special tonight. Fred, take it away.
I'm here right now with one of the key players of today. This is linebacker, strong side linebacker, and right guard Ty Thurston. And you guys were just incredible today. It was execution at its best. Tell me what you thought about it last year, and did you expect it?
Coming into this game, we knew they were a playoff caliber team. We knew that chances are we would see them in the playoff state finals. We knew it was going to be a dogfight right from the beginning. Honestly, I expected a 10-7, 14-7 game coming out. But, I mean, with the commitment and, discipline we have, we're unrivaled right now, Not saying one game doesn't make a difference, but it's a big step in the right direction for us, They're an extremely good football team. I'm real proud of what we did tonight.
Yeah, we were saying before, we thought that of the 5 teams that were in group, there were 5 really, really good teams in group 2, and they were one of them, so that hits a interceptions now. You got 2 back-to-back weeks, one against Audubon, one against Willingboro. Take me through your interception tonight.
I never expect an interception, I'm taught to drop into coverage, cover my guy, and if the ball comes, swat it, pick it. But, I'm not going to lie. Every time I see the ball, I get butterflies in the stomachs, But I knew, on the goal line, we need to make plays. We need key plays to stop them from driving. And, Kenny's interception, my interception, they're big key plays that we need to get things rolling in our direction. They had motivation. We shut it down right from that pick.
And that's absolutely 100%. Did you ever think you were going to go 99?
No.
That's a pretty good answer. Well, listen, what do you take out of tonight's game? What gives you some more impetus towards an even better and better games that are coming up in the future?
You know, as I said before, you know, they're a playoff caliber team, and I mean, we lost 23 seniors last year. You know, we have an experience, we have young guys. I'm one of them. You know, it's not like I started all 4 years, but I know with our hard work and our dedication, you know, we're here to play. You know, there's no stop to us. You know, we're always ready to progress. You know, we take it one day at a time. We had to look at Willingboro. The next week we look at the next team. We can never skip the game, one game at a time. We prepare for them, total preparation, and that's it.
And that's 100% right, because the season continues next week, and you play Overbrook, and then you worry about anything else that comes after that. And we certainly do appreciate your job you do. Keep up the good work. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
So, Fred, again, very, very impressive on the side of West Deptford tonight. They just seemed like they dominated in every phase of the game, and you know, Willingboro's got a lot of talent. To see West Deptford be so dominant, I think it surprised everybody here.
It definitely surprised me, because you thought with their skill players they were able to break one way or another. West Deptford just does what it does. It plays disciplined offense. It plays disciplined defense. They don't make many mistakes. You don't make many mistakes, you're not going to lose too many games. So Coach Folsom's got to be very, I called it execution tonight. Mm-hmm. They just really went out and took the hearts away from Willingboro in that first couple drives.
It's a sign of a good football team. West Deptford seemingly never worries about the other team. They only worry about themselves.
Yeah, there's a famous thing that the only team that can beat you basically is yourself. And the other thing that's always been said is winning teams never think about losing. They just think about winning, and they're always going to find a way. And I think that's permeated through Coach Folsom, where they just think they're going to go out in the field and they're going to perform.
389 total rushing yards to 26 for Willingboro. That pretty much tells the story. For Willingboro, obviously there's a lot of talent out there, and it's almost like they got hit by a tsunami. They didn't know what hit them. I think they're going to rebound.
Yeah, I do too. And they have a very good coaching staff. They're just going to have to build up their kids. Even sometimes in the old days, we used to take that film and throw it in the swimming pool and say, we're not even going to look at it. We're just going to worry about what happens this next week, and our season begins on Monday. And I'm sure that's what they'll do.
Very rarely will they face a wing T offense again, and certainly not as good as this potent West Deptford attack. So your final score here from West Deptford, it was the Eagles victorious 34-6 over Willingboro. For my partner, Fred Swartz, my stat man, Robbie Chris Jr., my director, Stan Ritter, and all the crew, thanks for joining us, everybody. Good night.